The rain had already started by the time Daniel came downstairs that morning, a thin, misty drizzle that coated the windows in gray. Seattle rain never fell hard, it just stayed, whispering against the glass, hanging over the city like a secret. He stood by the kitchen counter, staring at the blue ceramic mug sitting beside the sink. It wasn't his. It wasn't even theirs. It was chipped at the rim, with a faded logo from a downtown cafe he'd never been to. But she had. "Morning," Emma said softly, appearing in the doorway. Her blonde hair was still damp from her shower, her robe tied loosely at her waist. She looked beautiful in that effortless, infuriating way, the kind that made you question why you ever doubted her. "Morning," Daniel replied, his voice low. "New mug?" She blinked once, just a flicker, barely noticeable, but he caught it. "Oh, yeah," she said quickly. "From work. Someone left it in the break room. I figured I'd take it before it got tossed." He nodded slowly, watching her pour coffee into it, her hand trembling slightly. "Right," he said. "From work." Outside, a bus hissed to a stop, brakes squealing. Somewhere, a dog barked. The rain didn't stop. Something about the way she wouldn't meet his eyes made his stomach tighten. They'd been married for 11 years, high school sweethearts from Spokane who'd moved west after college, chasing jobs and dreams that never quite landed where they thought they would. Daniel worked as a building inspector for the city, steady, quiet work that paid the bills. Emma was a marketing manager at a tech startup in South Lake Union, a place that paid her too much and asked too much in return. Lately, she'd been staying late. At first, he'd believed her. Startups were demanding, long hours came with the territory. But then came the subtle changes, perfume lingering longer than usual, phone screen turning away when he walked into the room, laughter in the next room followed by silence when he appeared. And the new habits, yoga classes she never used to take, Friday, team dinners, that ended after midnight, that new dress he didn't remember buying. When he reached for her in bed, she'd turn slightly, murmuring that she was tired. He knew that kind of tired. It wasn't from work. It was from guilt. The breaking point came one night in mid-February. Emma had fallen asleep on the couch, her phone glowing faintly beside her. Daniel sat at the dining table, half watching an old Mariners game on mute, pretending not to notice the way her phone kept lighting up. Finally, curiosity, or desperation, got the better of him. He walked over, slow and deliberate, and picked up the phone. The screen blinked awake to a preview. "You looked incredible tonight." No name. Just a heart emoji. He scrolled. There were more messages, hidden under a contact saved as, "Jen, work. Can't stop thinking about you. You make the worst days worth it. Same place tomorrow." His heart dropped into his stomach. He set the phone down carefully, as though it might explode. When he looked at her, her head tilted against the couch cushion, lips parted, that peaceful innocence of sleep, he felt something inside him split cleanly in two. He didn't wake her. He didn't scream. He just sat there, staring at the rain outside, listening to the faint hum of traffic, and felt the weight of every lie settle on his chest. The next day, he followed her. He told her he had a site inspection across town. She kissed his cheek, lightly, distantly, and left, and it took him a week to say anything. He waited for the right moment, as if there could ever be one. It was a Thursday night. She'd just come home late again, damp from the rain, the same faint scent of cologne clinging to her jacket, not his. He was sitting at the dining table when she came in, his hands folded neatly in front of him. "Emma," he said. "We need to talk." Her eyes flicked toward him. "What's wrong?" "I followed you last week," he said quietly. "To the Mariners' Rest." She froze. The silence stretched so long it felt like the world stopped breathing. Then she whispered, "Oh, God. Who is he?" Daniel asked. She sank into the chair opposite him, covering her mouth with one hand. Tears welled in her eyes before she could speak. "His name's Mark," she said finally. He's someone from work." "How long?" "About 6 months." He nodded slowly. The clock on the wall ticked between them, slicing the silence into pieces. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said. "I was lonely. You were distant. We were just." He slammed his hand on the table, the sound sharp and sudden. "Don't you dare blame me for this." She flinched. "I'm not. You made a choice, Emma." His voice broke, raw and trembling. "You chose him. Over me. Over us." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I'm sorry. Sorry." The word echoed like a stone dropped into a well. He got up, walked past her, and went upstairs without another word. The next morning, he packed a bag and left. He stayed at a motel outside Tacoma for 3 nights, staring at the ceiling, trying to remember when his marriage had started dying, and realizing it had been years ago. She called. She texted. He didn't answer. When he finally returned home, she was gone. Her closet was half empty. The blue mug was gone too. On the kitchen counter, she'd left a note. "I'll give you space. Please don't hate me. E." He stared at it for a long time before crumpling it. A year later, he got a letter from her. She was living in Portland, working remotely. She wrote about guilt, therapy, and how she hoped he'd found peace. At the bottom of the page, she wrote, "I still keep the mug. I don't know why. Maybe because it reminds me of everything I ruined." He folded the letter, set it on the counter, and stared out the window at the rain, still falling, still soft, still endless. Revenge didn't come suddenly. It came like erosion. He didn't go after her. He didn't destroy her career or confront her new lover. His revenge was quieter, living well, letting her fade into the background of a life she no longer belonged to. He sold the house. Started hiking again. Met someone new, not a love affair, just companionship. But on nights when the rain hit the window at just the right rhythm, he still thought about that blue mug and the way it had looked in her hand. That small, stupid thing that had started it all. In his fist. By April, divorce papers arrived. They didn't fight about property. They barely spoke. It was like 2 ghosts dividing a life that no longer existed. Their friends took sides quietly. Her family called him distant, his called her selfish. No one really knew the truth. Sometimes he saw her downtown, once at Pike Place Market, another time near a coffee shop. She never saw him. Once, he thought she was with him again. But when he looked closer, it wasn't Mark. Just another stranger. It didn't matter anymore. Her silver Subaru. He waited 10 minutes before he got in his truck. Downtown was congested with morning commuters, and he almost lost her twice. But then she pulled into a small hotel near the waterfront, the Mariner's Rest, a place with old brick walls and ivy-covered balconies. He parked across the street, his pulse pounding so hard it blurred his vision. She got out, checked her phone, then looked around. A man in a gray suit emerged from the lobby. Mid-30s, tall, confident. The kind of man who looked like he'd never had to wonder whether he was enough. They didn't hug. They didn't kiss. But when she smiled at him, that smile, Daniel felt the ground tilt beneath him. He watched them walk inside together. For 23 minutes, he sat there, staring at the front doors, the wipers beating time to the rain, until he couldn't take it anymore. He drove away. Years later, long after the pain had dulled into something almost tender, Daniel found one last thing she'd left behind, a photo strip tucked into an old book. It was them, young and laughing, from a fair in 2011. Her head tilted against his, her eyes bright. He stared at it for a long time, feeling something like forgiveness, or maybe just exhaustion. He slipped the photo back into the book and set it on the shelf. Outside, the rain was falling again, soft, familiar, endless. Seattle rain. The kind that doesn't cleanse. The kind that just stays.